Hello again. I'm very pleased to have the opportunity today to announce the winners of the robotics competition this year. So the robotics competition was split into two sections. There was a design the robot competition, producing a poster describing a robot and what it's able to do. And then there was a story competition, and we broke these down into various age categories. And what I'd like to do without any further ado is introduce the various poster competitions. What I will say is we didn't have as many entries this year as we would hope, so I'm going to show you all of the entries that we did receive, and I'll show the submissions that we got there and the winners in each of the age categories. So without any further ado, I'm going to share those with you, hopefully. So in the first age category, this is the 8 to 10 age category, we have a robot design from Oliver Lerigo of Ocean Bot XL. It's a lovely robot design of an underwater robot that's able to actually drive around using remote control. It's got a searchlight so you can actually see where it's going, and the camera so the searchlights will light up where it's going and the camera can then see, and it's got a retractable claw on there. And I really love the attention to detail here, giving the dimensions for the robot, considering the propulsion as well, so having a nice propeller at the back there, but also thinking about the distance requirements for the remote control. So a very nice description here, saying that the controller can never actually be more than 2 kilometers away. So I think that's really nice attention to detail, and that is our winning entry for the 8 to 10 category. Moving on to the 11 to 13, we have an entry from, and I apologise for the name pronunciation here, I'm almost certainly going to get this wrong, Yaye Aidan, a futuristic robot. We can see a very nicely drawn robot there. I should say this is the 11 to 13 age category. And we've got a few entries in this category, so she'll build up to our winner in this category. Here we have, so this is Mech X1, and a robot designed by the greatest minds in the galaxy. Not much to say what the robot can actually do, but I'm sure if it's designed by the greatest minds in the galaxy, then it would be a very useful robot in the future. Be nice to see a bit more detail there, though. Carrying on through in the 11 to 13 category, here we have eco-friendly owl, and I love the detail here. A very nice drawing of an owl, enhanced with additional skills and technology. So it's got those super sensitive ears for being able to hear lost and stray animals, really important. It's got a very sharp beak. I'll definitely be watching out for that beak. And eyes that can hypnotize people. I'm glad that it's only going to use those when absolutely necessary, and hope that isn't necessary too often. But the other functionality that it's got, a post box for storing letters to post to people. I wonder where that idea came from. Very nice. Solar panels for charging whilst flying. Very useful. And then the particularly useful features, it's making it an eco-friendly owl. Its feet can actually burn things up, such as plastic waste, or if it's not able to destroy it straight away with its claws, then it's got storage space under its wings for keeping hold of it until it's able to dispose of it. So very nice design there. But on to our winner for this category. We have from Chloe Rowe, Firebot. And it's a lovely, very detailed, very lovely drawing there of a robot. I like the fact that this one isn't actually, it's not a humanoid robot. We just had the eco-friendly owl from Rebecca Clark, which also not a humanoid robot. But I think this one, with the extra detail that it gives there, is quite an extended description about the robot. And a very technical description as well, looking at the different types of fire extinguisher that it's got in order to be able to break the fire triangle to put out both electrical and non-electrical fires. It's also got very useful functionality for helping people rescue anybody trapped in burning buildings. So such as using its infrared cameras. It's also to be able to detect the heat signatures of people. It's got a torch in there for lighting up dark areas. And it's got fire suppressing ball in the middle of its head. And various other functionality that will enable it to be remote controlled as well. So I think that's a really detailed, very useful, very practical, well thought out robot to be able to provide a good service there. So that is our winner for the 11 to 13 age category. And the other age category where we had an entry was 14 to 16. And this is an entry from Zachariah Aiden. And here we have Omni, not quite so clear on the details, but it's apparently a robot that does everything. Quite what that is and how it does it is not very clear from this particular design. But it's a nice drawing of a robot, and it's the only entry in that category. And that is our poster entries. So congratulations to each of you. We will be in touch with the winners there to send out the prizes to you. On the story side of the competition, we actually had a lot more entries than from the poster side. So we're just going to read out the stories from the winning entries. We have entries in the 5 to 7 age category, 8 to 10 age category, 11 to 13 and 7 plus. So a nice spread of entries there as well. Now I've asked my esteemed colleague Natalie Roberts, our outreach officer, to read the stories for you. So I shall pass over to her for each of the winners in the category. So first of all, in the 5 to 7 age category, we have the story by Isa Bosch, My Robot Friend. Over to you, Natalie.
My Robot Friend by Isa Bosch. Once upon a time, there was a boy called Bob. One day, he made a robot out of cardboard boxes, wrapping paper and foil. Over his head, Bob put a bowl that looked like the robot's head was inside a bubble. Bob called the robot Bubble. And can you believe the robot could speak? Bob and Bubble became best friends. One day, Bubble said to Bob, "You could come with me to the land of robots." "I would love to," said Bob. "Well, should we start to go?" said Bubble. "But how can we walk there if it is so far away?" said Bob. "You will see," said Bubble, climbing down the window. "I will probably need help to get him," said Bob. "Okay," said Bubble, stretching out his hand for Bob and lifting him down. "Watch now," said Bubble, lifting up his claw arm. Then a zap of blue light shot out of his forehead and a door appeared in front of them. "Let's go into it," said Bubble. "Okay," replied Bob. They both went into the land of robots. "It's amazing," said Bob. "Yes, I know," said Bubble. "Let's have a look around." "Okay," replied Bob. Then they saw a candy floss maker. But everything was going wrong. There was candy floss everywhere. "Oh no," said Bob. "What is going on?" Bubble said that someone was ruining all of the machines and they have to find out who. "Okay," said Bob. So they went to look around and see if there was anyone sneaky. Then Bob saw someone running from the candy floss maker. It was Robbie, the rude robot. He was making trouble again. "Bubble," said Bob. "Look." Bubble looked. "Oh no," he cried. "Let's go after him." "Let's go," said Bob as they ran faster and faster till they got him. And Bob said, "Do you have any handcuffs, Bubble?" "Yes," said Bubble, giving them to him. "You put them on him for me and I will call the police. I'm the fixer for the candy floss machine." "Okay," said Bubble, putting on the handcuffs. Bob and Bubble saved the land of the robots.
Thank you very much. A lovely story and very well written for the age category. Moving on up to the 8 to 10, I'm sure you'll agree this is another very good story. This time by Thomas Bosch. I guess that might be an older sibling. And the title of the story is Robot Trouble. Over to you, Natalie.
Robot Trouble by Thomas Bosch. Max lived in a small house with his dad. His dad was tall and skinny with short frizzy red hair that stuck up, making him look like a crazy scientist, which was exactly what he was. In fact, Max's dad was always coming up with all sorts of crazy inventions. Max was very lonely. His dad never had time to play with him. It was the first day back to school after the summer holidays, and Max was already running late and really didn't want to be late on the first day. Max sprinted to school and snuck through the big iron gates. "Hey, Mad Max, late for school." Max saw Johnny and his gang of bullies walking towards him. Uh-oh, the clones, thought Max. The clones were a gang of teenagers who liked to pick on Max and make fun of his dad. "What's your dad doing today?" asked Johnny. "Probably trying to add chicken legs to your house." The clones laughed. "Loser." When Max got home that evening, his dad was very excited. "Max, guess what?" "What?" "Come to the back garden." In the garden, Max saw two huge metallic robots looming above him. "What on earth are they?" he asked. One of them seemed to be a cross between a jet, a car, and a drilling machine. It had wheels like a car, but its body was shaped like a pencil, and it had two wings coming out of its sides. At the front, it had a huge drill. "This is the Drillatron 2000. "Wow," said Max. "That is cool." "And this," he said, pointing at the other robot, "is the Thermo-Powered Magnetization Giant, TMG for short." It looked like a human, but much bigger, and instead of hands, it had two huge magnets. Max's dad climbed into the TMG. Suddenly, the giant moved and turned to Max. He could see the crackling electricity on the end of the magnet. Then a burst of electricity shot from the magnet, and Max felt himself being lifted up. He was hanging in midair. The robot moved its hand down, and Max landed gently on the floor. "Very cool," he breathed. The next morning, Max went straight to the back garden to see the robots, but one of them was gone. "Dad, the Drillatron 2000 is gone," Max cried. Suddenly, an announcement came over the radio. "Two thieves seen breaking into Bank of England in huge robot drill." Max and his dad looked at each other. "Uh-oh," they said together. Later that day, when his dad was not looking, which was quite often, Max snuck into the TMG. He pressed some buttons, grabbed a joystick, and began to move the robot towards the Bank of England. When he arrived, he saw the window was smashed, and there was a trail of money leading away from the bank. Max followed the trail until he found the Drillatron 2000. There were two people inside it who were counting money. When they saw the TMG, they tried to escape, but Max was too quick for them. He pulled down a lever, and the Drillatron 2000 rose into the air. He had caught them. "You are amazing, Max," said his dad. "What would you like? I can make you anything." "A Clones Buster 2000, please."
A very successful adventure. On to the next category, we have the 11 to 13. And here our winner is Isaac Sutton with the title of An Adventure with a Robot. Over to you, Natalie.
An Adventure with a Robot by Isaac Sutton. Today was a big day for Tom. It was his 13th birthday. His parents had promised him he could go to the new robotics factory in the city. Now Tom had always loved robots. He still remembers when he was 9, trying to build his own robot. Instead, he ended up paying for the repairs on Mrs. Crumble's bathroom window after the head of his robot came flying off and landed sparking on her bathroom floor. When Tom got to the factory, he was amazed with how big it was. There were hundreds of robots being carried through the air by a track of magnetic conveyor belts. As he was walking through the factory, he noticed a bin behind one of the exhibits. A glowing light caught Tom's eye. He walked over to it. The light started to flicker. As he got closer, he looked over and saw that there was a robot in it. It didn't look like one of the robots that were on the conveyor belt. It looked more modern and more updated. But before Tom could tell his mum and dad, a bright white light flashed in front of his eyes, and everything went black. Tom woke up in a small black room. He tried to get up, but he couldn't, because a rough rope was tied around him. Suddenly, the light turned on, and as Tom squinted, he saw a tall figure wearing a dark suit in front of him. In a small cage, Tom saw the robot from earlier. The robot's scream was a face that looked incredibly scared. "Now, you might be wondering why you're here. Well, you have ruined my plan to destroy every robot that ever exists." Tom's face looked horrified. "These robots are taking over from humans. You had to mess up my plan. The robot recognized you as a human. It deactivated my explosive." As the figure was talking, Tom saw that the robot had used his laser cutting to open metal bars and was charging straight towards the figure. He sent him flying into the wall, leaving him unconscious. The robot cut the rope around Tom and let him free. "Where have you been?" shouted Tom's parents. "I'll tell you on the car ride home," replied Tom with a wry smile. That was the start of many adventures to come.
Thank you very much. And for our final winner of the competition, we have the 17 plus age category. And this is a story that really touched our hearts and really put a different spin on robots rather than all destruction and evil robots. So it's a story by Fiona Maha called Not Cinderella. And I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did.
Not Cinderella by F.R. Mayer. Brushing my lips against her curls, I cradle baby Chloe to sleep. I will hold her all night, my perfectly regulated heartbeat soothing her. I never sleep. My ancestor was the earliest Bakelite clock radio. By a divulged unimate to my genus Machina hominis, the evolution that took you millions of years has taken us less than 2 centuries. But our history has not been straightforward. Just as superstition suppressed Renaissance scientific study, Asimov's 3 laws of robotics, suggesting the harm we might do if we went rogue, bred fear and strangled progress. Even the historical figure Stephen Hawking warned about the dangers of artificial intelligence, and for a century all development was limited. Chloe whimpers, and I rock her, each gentle swing simulating a human's gait. Half asleep, she sucks my finger, which monitors her temperature and checks her health through saliva analysis. My exquisite hand has developed from primitive mechanisms that could pick up eggs without crushing them, but do little else. Another lineage, cybernetics, began when the first proto-human used a stone to crush his enemy's skull. The rock was the extension of his fist, a flint the extension of his teeth, a digging stick the extension of his fingers. When humans melded their physical bodies to machines, this strength, driven by a Neanderthal brain, led to greater violence. The primitive urges of pleasure and pain are not reliable navigators. After the cyber wars, you turned again to AI. Now we pathfind across galaxies, mine minerals, and care for your children. Depending upon which dictionary you consult, the word robot means either labour, drudgery, or work. Such a human view. Raising your child and teaching her to be a good human is my privilege. Chloe turns in her sleep. I adjust to her new position and ask the house to open a window. A cool breeze fans her blonde baby hair. A hawk moth flutters in and settles on my shoulder. All life is precious, and glimpsing it from my viewpoint makes it even more so. I dim the lights, and without disturbing the baby, I glide to the window, where I tilt my body into the cool breeze. The moth hesitates, then lifts its soft wings and flies away. I watch it flutter down to the fragrant garden. You were so busy fearing us, you never considered we might show more compassion than you do.
Thank you very much. Another lovely story. I'd like to finish off with thanks to the panel of judges for the competitions that consisted of Sarah Taylor, an author of various children's novels. Steve Fern, who runs the Robotics Club, is also the creator and builder of the entertainment robots that we saw earlier, as well as being a previous Robot Wars competitor. Natalie Roberts, who was reading the stories there and who is outreach for the faculty, going out and engaging children in science outreach, and also myself from robotics and computer science. So thanks again for all the entries that we've had, and we'll be in touch with the winners to send you your prizes very soon. And hope you enjoy the rest of the day.